everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing what I've read recently. I've not really been reading that much, but I have been asked about booktube videos, so I'm going to try and do them weekly to bi-weekly. I think I've got 2 videos filming this one, and I've got another one in the works. And then hopefully I will try and do them to booktube bi-monthly. Possibly. No promises, but I will try my very best. This is actually going to be quite a positive video because, spoiler alert, I actually really liked these books. Yay! So, we'll start with this. Lisa Jewell, 31 Dream Street. I don't know if I've talked to you about this before. I feel like I have. But I literally read this in a day. And Lisa Jewell books are so easy to read. They're perfect for sitting on a sun lounger with a beverage of your choice and just read. This is quite an old book, and when I was reading it, I thought she was trying to be funny, like comical funny, or she was trying to use her own, she was using her own words, but they turned out to be real words kind of thing. But actually, when you look at the copyright, it was first published in 2007, which explains some of the older terminology. Like someone's trying to say it's by a switch card, but actually it feels quite relevant and quite modern. I suppose it's only 10-11 years old, but yeah, I was reading it and this woman's switch card got declined. I was a bit like, Lisa, you know switch cards are real. But she evidently did, and she was using one way back in 2007. As was I. I loved my switch card. Made me feel like a grown up. I was a grown up in 2007. So I'll read the blurb because that's kind of usually the best way for me to get these videos across. So Leah and Toby have lived across from one another for years without meeting. In that time, Leah has been itching to peek behind the front door of Toby's eccentric house. Always packed to the rafters with weird and wonderful tenants. When fate finally lets her in, Leah finds Toby needs her as much as she is surprised to realise she needs him. Sometimes life needs a helping hand with a sprinkle of romance and their own special magnets. Toby and Leah's dreams show the glimmering of a chance of coming true. Yeah, it's such a sweet book, and I've read a lot of Lisa Jewell books, and it's rare for one to disappoint. This is such quick reading. So, as it says, Leah and Toby have lived opposite each other for years. Toby was bought a house as a wedding present by his estranged father, but then his wife leaves him. And rather than selling up, what he does is he puts an advert in things like The Spectator, Private Eye, for people who are artistic, down on the luck, in need of shelter. And he, over the years, he's took in many tenants, so this book centres on the current tenants. The reason he couldn't sell the house was because it came with a sitting tenant, and something happens to him, and that's how they meet. And Toby is socially awkward, he's a failed poet, and Leah is a vibrant shopkeeper who is good at getting to know people. She knows the right questions to ask. She's a people person where Toby isn't. And the book kind of helps him find out. He decides to sell up, but instead of just evicting his tenants because he hasn't got the balls to do it, Leah helps him get to know the tenants and find out their real circumstances, and helps them live the life they should be. A little bit predictable, but you know what, if you find this in a charity shop or it's cheap enough online, even though it's 11 years old, I would definitely still recommend reading it. I picked this up off the book table at work for £1 for charity. I think I still owe that £1 actually. Must find a charity coordinator tomorrow. The next is The Light Between Oceans, M.L. Stedman. And again, I feel like I might have talked about this one. I think I've done a to be read pile, and this is where this comes in. This was on 3 for a tenner from Amazon when I was buying books for the book club. And when it was out of the pictures, we were a bit in two minds whether we went to see it. But when I realised it was an Australian, I don't know if Australian author or Australian set, I became more interested. I love books set in Australia. I've not read many, but I've always enjoyed them, and this didn't disappoint. I can imagine this kind of being more of a Sunday night ITV BBC drama rather than a movie. But I'll read the blurb. A boat washes up on the shore of a remote lighthouse keeper's island. It holds a dead man and a crying baby. The only two islanders, Tom and his wife Izzy, are about to make a devastating decision. They break the rules and follow their hearts. What happens next will break yours. I don't necessarily think it broke my heart. So, the Northern Territory of Australia has lots of little islands and lots of lighthouse keepers. And Tom was a war veteran who, by the sounds of it, has probably got PTSD, and he gets a job with a lighthouse company. When he has shore leave, or before he's going, he falls in love with Izzy, and over many years they correspond, and finally he asks her to live on the island. But because it's set, I can't remember when. Well, it starts 1926. They can't live together, they have to get married, and sad circumstances that Izzy's not able to have a child of her own. As you can guess, his child washes up on shore, and being a lighthouse keeper, every little minute detail has to be recorded, from the time you lit the bulb to filling out toilet paper, and you know, it's a very recorded life. Any ships wash ashore, I don't know what you do, I don't know how you communicate in 1926, but you do something, you have some sort of communication, and they don't, and it's about how they live their life with this child and what happens when they have to go back to shore. And it's heartbreaking in parts. Like, I mean, it didn't break my heart, but you could feel empathy for the characters. I'm getting passionate, the fist is going. I've tried watching the film, but the casting for me is not the best, so I've kind of given up on it. But we might try and watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Next is possibly the biggest hyped book of this year or last year or the teen years. Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I, again, wasn't particularly bothered about reading this. I felt like there was a lot of hype about it, and I just didn't really know what it was about. And it is basically chick lit. There's no two ways about it. But it is a really, really good read. And again, I read this really quickly. Now, I think it's a little bit Marmite. My mum has tried reading it, and this is where she's got up to. My mum is a speed reader. She would devour 2 of these books a day if she just sat down and read. I got into it really quickly, but I'm in a couple of Facebook book groups and loads of people are saying, can't get into it, but please persevere with it. It's a really good read. I have a thing with names, which I've mentioned numerous times. and I basically didn't call her Eleanor. I can't remember what I called her in my head. I think I might call her Elaine. But I'll read the back. So, Eleanor Oliphant leads a simple life. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch every day, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled existence except sometimes everything. Now, while my life is not like this, I wear something different every day. I may have the same meal deal a lot of the time. Best value, people. And I certainly don't drink 2 bottles of vodka on a weekend. When I was reading the beginning of this, I felt quite emotionally attached to Eleanor. I felt a bit of a kinship, and I was like, oh. As the book progressed, I realised me and Eleanor had nothing alike, but I think that maybe why I enjoyed it more than other people, because I did kind of feel a bit like, oh yes, I know exactly how this feels. If you've read the book, it's probably only about that first bit of the book I feel like that. This next bit is completely different, I promise. I don't want to give spoilers away, but kind of throughout the book, her colleagues like laugh and make jokes of her. She does manage to make a friend at work who's not in her department, who kind of sees her for who she is, but she doesn't see that they see what they see. So I feel like that friends episodes that they know that we know, but they don't know that I don't know that they know that. Yeah, that bit. It's a little bit like that. Unfortunately, Eleanor has a little bit of a breakdown and ends up off work, signed off sick. But when she goes back to work, her manager basically promotes her, and I don't know if that gives her a bit more confidence or if that makes it worse. But the friend who is genuinely a friend kind of comes back into play and tries to make her more normal. But it delves into her past, her childhood, her current life, things that a lot of people possibly go through. Not the same thing, but people go through things and they bury them, and they are completely fine. But like it says, except sometimes everything. I would definitely recommend this. I think I got this off Amazon, probably on a 3 for a tenner deal. But go read it, peeps. And the last is another chick lit, and this is Wild Like Me by Louise Pentland. And I put off reading this for a very, very long time. One, I don't like reading hardback books, and two, because when I watch Louise's channel a lot, and when she was talking about it, I was thinking it's going to be the next 50 Shades. Because she went wild, and I was a little bit like, not exactly my bag, but hey ho. But it's not. It's chick lit. It's single mother, young daughter. They are living their life, and in my head, basically I was reading it as Louise and Darcy. I'm sure she took things from real life, even though it's not her and Darcy. But I did really, really enjoy it, and I'm excited for the next book to come out, which I think it's coming out this week, or last week. But I won't read it till it's in paperback, but I will definitely read it. I'll read the blurb quickly. It doesn't tell you much. Meet Robin Weld, an awesome single mum, aspiring makeup artist, good friend. From the outside things look just fine, but Robin has a secret. I honestly can't remember what that secret is, but I remember enjoying it. Another good beach read. I definitely would recommend all 4 of those books. So just want to say thank you very much for watching. I'm going to shoot off because I'm going to the cinema that way. And really appreciate it if you leave me comments, likes, subscriptions. Let me know what booktube videos you would like. I'm going to film a what's on my to be read pile, the next 4 books I'm sort of in the middle of or planning on reading. But let me know what you want to see from this corner of my channel, and I will say goodbye and see you next time.